I am a huge fan of horror and horror films. I love scary mazes, scary escape rooms. Not Scary Farm is an annual tradition for me, and I've seen more horror films than I can keep track of, though not for a lack of trying. I've had a fascination with the macabre for quite some time, but it wasn't always this way. In fact, I would say that when I was a kid, I was scared of everything. If you could list it, I was probably scared of it. Ketchup bottles, cats, other children, it didn't matter. Even if it was something that wasn't particularly scary, it could potentially traumatize me. It wasn't until I watched the film El Orfanato as an 11-year-old boy. It helped me and kind of opened my eyes to how wonderful the genre could be. But that definitely wasn't my first experience with being scared, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Things that scared me as a child, and not things that were inherently scary, like, for example, The Undertaker scared the shit out of me, but that's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. We're talking about things that nobody, and I mean nobody, should ever be afraid of, but for some reason, I was. Steven Spielberg's E.T., or Extra-Terrestrial, is a wonderfully charming little movie that captivated audiences from all over the world. To this day, it's a beloved film, and some of the shots and sequences have etched themselves into pop culture forever. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit as a kid as well. There's some moments and scenes in it that make me feel very comforted. This is a cozy movie that makes me very nostalgic whenever I think about it. However, this fucking thing still creeps me out. The design of E.T. was horrific for 6-year-old me. Something about his big, bulging blue eyes, coupled with his weird, wrinkly, short, fat little torso, just really unnerves me. There's also the fact that his arms were about as long as his entire body. It's just ugh. The sounds he makes and his glowy, weird little finger creep me out too. That fucking scene where they find him all sick in the river is just burnt in my brain. I used to have these recurring nightmares where this sickly version of E.T. was knocking on my window trying to get into my room. For this next entry, I want to bring you back to the year 2003. I'm about 6 years old and I'm hanging out with my older brother and his wife. They've moved to their own place, I'm staying for the weekend, it's Friday night, I don't have school, and I'm jazzed to be watching this cool alien action movie. I innocently watch the screen when I come across something that absolutely traumatized me. It was the fucking countdown. For some reason, I had convinced myself that this countdown was real, and when it hit 0, our end was inevitable. When that countdown finally hit 0, I had this overwhelming sense of fear and grief that just broke me. I had this meltdown and I was inconsolable. No amount of snacks or movie changes or please bro don't tell moms could fix me, and eventually I had to be driven back home, ruining my own weekend. For years, this movie actually gave me nasty anxiety. It's like I had PTSD or a horrible memory about this film, but I couldn't even remember why it scared me so bad. I refused to watch this movie because I only remembered the fallout of my fear. I remembered me just being inconsolable and having to go home that weekend. I don't even remember what scared me. When I finally got around to seeing it again, I felt like a fucking idiot. I couldn't believe a movie like this could have such a hold on me. It's a perfectly mediocre alien action movie with the true horror being Will Smith's acting, but Independence Day will always hold a special place in my heart because of that Friday night back in 2003.
Welcome to Earth.
This next movie is one that I don't think many people have even seen. The live-action Pinocchio, no, not that one, or that one, Jesus Christ, why did they remake this one? Is a movie I actually watched a ton growing up. This was my personal introduction to the character because my father didn't know that there was an animated version released by Disney. Pretty sure he bought this movie in a thrift store without much thought and slapped it on for me to enjoy. And enjoy it I did. This was another comfort movie for me. I love the scenes where Geppetto is making Pinocchio, and I love the scene where Pinocchio is causing chaos in the pastry store. The soundtrack is nice and whimsical, and the puppet is incredibly impressive, especially for its time. Now, if you know the story of Pinocchio, you'd know that he goes to a place called Pleasure Island at some point, and it's a place for bad kids to go. It seems like all fun and games and like there's not a care in the world, but eventually, the dark secret of this place is revealed, when the bad kids are turned into donkeys and forced to do manual labor. In the animated movie, it looks like this.
Did that come out of me? Huh?
Which is admittedly very scary. However, in this live action movie, it looks like this. Currently editing this video, looking at this source clip here from tfdimension.com. Was curious about what this linked to, so I went to the website, and it is certainly something. I did not know that this was a fetish of some kind that existed, so I learned something new today. If you're into this kind of thing, check out tfdimension.com, and thank you for the clip. I swear to God, this is one of the only ways I could find this clip. So I guess check them out. This is my endorsement for them. Thanks for finding me this clip. What in the baby's first body horror was this? The deep shadow as we see his horrific transformation leaves so much to the imagination. The kid's pained brays that forcefully leave his throat really left an impact on me. I don't know what it was about this, but it really made me uncomfortable. It made child me think about the physical impact of like your skull transforming into that of a donkey. It kind of messed me up for a few days. Pinocchio himself is so uncanny looking. It's the way his lips move, I think. Like, he is a puppet, but he doesn't always move like one in this movie. He looks like one of those creepy street performers that pretend they're robots. The last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is Shel Silver-stein. I loved his poems as a kid. They brought a unique humor and charm to them, and I always enjoyed the illustrations that accompanied his stories. However, there was one story that, while funny, had horrifying implications that I still think about to this day, and that was the peanut butter sandwich. If you're unfamiliar with the story, it's about a young king who's kind of reckless and careless about his job. He has it all, but he yearns for the simple beauty of a peanut butter sandwich. He turns down steaks, soups, all the wondrous cuisines one could have if they were king, and he demands an extra sticky peanut butter sandwich.
He would not eat his sovereign steak. No, he scorned his soup, take it away, and his kingly cake, and told his courtly cook to bake an extra sticky peanut butter sandwich.
One bite of that motherfucker completely shuts his mouth, and we're talking extra tight.
He found that his mouth was stuck quite tight from that last bite of peanut butter sandwich.
None of the king's servants can get this guy's jaw unstuck. He's panicking. His mom is screaming about how her own son just killed himself, and
His brother pulled, his sister pried, the wizard pushed, his mother cried, my boy's committed suicide from eating that last peanut butter sandwich. The carpenter, he tried with pliers. The telephone man tried with wires. The firemen, they tried with fire. But couldn't melt that peanut butter sandwich.
takes 20 fucking years for the king's jaw to finally become unstuck. And what's the first thing this cocksucker asks for after finally getting his jaw unstuck?
In voice so faint and weak, the first words that they heard him speak were, how about a peanut butter sandwich?
Obviously, this is a comedic poem that has a happy ending, but something about the king's jaw getting stuck together really stuck with me, especially because I could relate to that king. I was a super picky eater myself, and I loved peanut butter sandwiches, and I would cake that shit on the bread. I think I got into my own head about getting my jaw stuck, and it's just something that's always been in my head whenever I eat a PB sandwich. Shel Silver-Stein did the audio version of this poem, and he is acting his pussy off in this recording, which definitely sold the dread for me. It also didn't help that the back of these books for some reason have the most terrifying image of him imaginable. Obviously, I'm not really scared of any of these things anymore. I hold these moments in my life very closely, and I look back fondly on a lot of these things. If not for these innocent brushes with horror, I might not have as much appreciation for the genre as I do. I love horror. It's the most diverse and interesting genre out there, and I hope that my stories amused you. If you have any weird childhood things that terrified you, I'd love to read your stories in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching this video.